Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Hi There with Rabbi Leah. I'm coming to you from my home. This is going to be an experiment because for, let's see, 5 days now, I have had no internet. I was one of the unlucky ones to be a victim of that power outage a few days ago, and although my power came on within about 24 hours, my internet has not worked since then. So, talk about being in a panic. It was a hard time. But anyway, hi there. I'm going to try to make sure that this recording comes out. And I'm sitting in my living room right now. I have Tootsie over there. I have Snickers right next to me. Hershey's under the table. And this is going to be, hi there. Hi there. Hi there. And this is going to be kind of a more casual um, lesson today. And let me wish you all a happy Hanukkah. Very excited. Hanukkah is 2 days from today. First evening is December 10th. And I'm very excited. I love Hanukkah. It's going to be very different this year, but we're going to try to entertain you and we're going to try to make sure you get all the right stuff to eat. And we're going to have a trivia contest. So let me give you a brief summary of how this is going to work. Starting today, right now, with the Hi There program, I'm going to talk to you about Hanukkah. And I'm going to start today with some of the, you can see that Snickers is bored already, that I'm going to start with some of the very basic stuff that most of you know. And then every night that we light candles, starting with Thursday night, the 10th, and going all the way through Thursday night, the 17th, which is the last night, I'll be doing blessings at 4:15 and 4:30. Your choice. You can watch it either time. Those are going to take about 15 minutes. We'll do the blessings, we'll sing the songs, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about Hanukkah and hopefully bring you some tidbits of information that you either learned at one time and maybe forgot, or interesting facts that you never knew before. Your task is to remember what I said. Now, if you're anything like me, I forget. So I have to write things down. And in fact, there was a very smart guy by the name of Albert Einstein who had a lot of theories, but one of the things he always said was never commit to memory what you can write down. And so I'm going to encourage you to have a pad of paper or a sheet of paper or and something to write with um, today, as well as starting Thursday night, because somewhere within the little mini lessons that I'm going to give you today and throughout Hanukkah when we light candles are going to be the answers to the trivia question. So you're going to listen today. You're going to listen for the 8 nights that we light candles. I'm going to bring you some interesting facts. You may want to jot them down instead of trying to commit them to memory. And then on Friday, the 18th, if you live in a building where you have a mailbox, into your mailbox is going to go a trivia quiz. Haven't decided how many questions yet. A lot depends on how these next days go, but you're going to get a trivia quiz. Those of you who live in assisted living will get it probably handed out to you by JoJo. Those of you who live in Katzen will have it handed out to you by Carly. And those of you who live in assisted living will get a copy of the trivia quiz from um, from Carlene Katzen, Assisted Living from JoJo, and of course in Goldberg you're going to be getting it from Kathleen or one of the other life enrichment people. So what do you do with this trivia quiz? Well, you answer the questions. You put your name on it, you put your room number, you answer the questions. You're then going to turn it back into whoever your life enrichment people are. And by the way, those of you who live in independent living will get a copy in your mailboxes. You're going to then turn it back in. I will get them all. I will score them. I will see who got how many points, and then there are prizes. And the trivia test will be uh, due on no later than Monday. So Friday's the 18th, Saturday the 19th, Sunday the 20th, Monday the 21st at close of business. You will have to turn in your trivia quiz, and that way I'll have a few days to score them and determine who the winners are. Now, there may be some among you who are incredibly smart. I'm sure there are. And so we may end up having some ties. And if we do, I'm going to have a couple questions on there that are just a little bit tougher. And I'll call those tiebreakers, okay? And we'll see. Now, there is there are a number of things you could do. You can go on the internet and look up the answers. You can chat with some of the other friends at a safe distance in your building and work as a team. You can watch the video a couple times because, as I said, blessings will be at 4:15 and 4:30. So you will have plenty of opportunities to find the answers. There will be multiple choice questions, maybe a couple of true and false. I'm also going to throw some, I don't want to call them trick questions, but maybe some questions where it's not so cut and dried what the answer may be. Still there'll be multiple choice. But anyway, let's have some fun with this. In addition to getting goodies this week, I want to stretch your minds and your brain cells a little bit, and let's have some fun with this. I'm also going to encourage you to watch the blessings every night because I may just come dressed in a few different outfits in celebration of the holiday, and you definitely don't want to miss that. So here we go. I'm going to start with some very, very basic information. As I mentioned, I think a lot of you already know this stuff, maybe not. And feel free to take a couple notes if that's something that you want to do. All right. First and foremost, when is Hanukkah? When is Hanukkah? And no, don't tell me December 10th it starts. I want to know the Hebrew date. Hanukkah is in the month of Kislev, 2 months after Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Simchat Torah. Okay? So there's 1 month in between. All of the high holy days and Sukkot fall in a month known as Tishrei. Following Tishrei is the month of Cheshvan. And why do rabbis love Cheshvan? Because there are no holidays in Cheshvan. So we actually get a little bit more than a month and a half to kind of rest up from the marathon of the high holidays before Kislev rolls around. So the month before the high holidays is Elul. Then we get to Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. And then on the new month, at the end of Tishrei, starts the month of Cheshvan. So we have all of Cheshvan, And then the next month is the month of Kislev, and that is the month in which Hanukkah falls. Now, on what day does it come? Well, it comes on the 25th of Kislev. And I guess if you need a way to remember that, the best way to remember it is that the Hebrew date is the same as the English date for Christmas, the 25th of December, the 25th of Kislev. Now there is nothing that is that really coincides between these two dates, except for the fact that Hanukkah and Christmas are both winter festivals in which light has a great significance, and that's about where the similarities end. So for those who say Hanukkah is the Jewish Christmas, don't let me hear you say that. Couldn't be farther from the truth. And you're going to learn a lot more about Hanukkah, which will lead you to understand that. Since we celebrate Jewish holidays according to the Hebrew calendar, Hanukkah will fall at different times every year according to our English or Gregorian calendar. You may remember a few years ago, Hanukkah fell on Thanksgiving, and there was this big to-do made about calling it Thanksgivica instead of Hanukkah. Somebody even invented a Hanukkah menorah that looked like a turkey with the different candle holders in it. So Hanukkah can fall anytime between very late November and very late December, and sometimes it even goes over New Year's. This year Hanukkah falls on the 10th of December. Next year Hanukkah, I think I looked it up in my trusty Hebrew calendar. Next year Hanukkah is November 29th, even earlier. And November 29th, I don't know the day of the week, in 2021. Let's see if it goes over Thanksgiving. That would be very interesting. Although I seem to remember that it was going to be the last time in something like, 900 years that we would see it fall on Thanksgiving again. So God only knows if we'll be here for Thanksgiving. I know I won't be here for Thanksgiving in 900 years. Thanksgiving is the 25th next November. Hanukkah falls just a few days later. Okay, so it's very interesting because the 25th of Kislev is very much towards the end of the month. The last day of Kislev is actually the 20, let me look this up. The 29th. Now, the reason I wanted to look it up is because some Hebrew months have 28 days, some have 29 days, and so Kislev has 29 days. As we get to the end of a Hebrew month, the moon gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Well, the moon doesn't, but the light of the moon does. At the very end of the month, on the cusp of a new month, we have pretty much a pitch dark moon, except maybe with just a little sliver. If somebody offered you a piece of cheesecake, you'd say just a sliver. So we have just a sliver of a moon, and then the days begin, or the nights begin to get a little lighter as the moon begins to grow back to a full moon. So this is kind of symbolic. It's kind of a metaphor for what happens during Hanukkah, because as the days go on, the 8 days, the 8 nights and the 8 days, we light more lights. So we are shedding more light into a darker world, just as the moon itself is becoming a little bit lighter each day that we celebrate Hanukkah. Okay. Hanukkah the way we celebrate it today has absolutely no resemblance to anything that was celebrated at the time of the rededication of the temple. And these are some of the things I'm going to talk about every night that we light candles that'll give you the answers to the trivia contest. The event that took place in the 2nd century before the Common Era. So that's like negative 200, okay? Negative 200. It was actually I believe 165 BCE. The Assyrian Greeks had taken over the second temple in Jerusalem, the one that had been built by King Solomon. They had torn down anything and everything that smacked of Jewish identification. They had replaced everything with their Greek gods. They had basically desecrated the entire temple. And a group of Jewish fighters, led by a fellow by the name of Judah, who was the son of Mattathias. They were known as the Maccabees, and they were from the Seleucid group of families, rebelled against these Assyrian Greeks, rebelled against their king, who was King Antiochus IV Antiphanes. What a great name, huh? Antiochus Antiphanes the fourth. He was the fourth of the Antiochuses. And they were this little ragtag band of fighters, rebels, and they were able to defeat the Greeks and reclaim and rededicate the temple. The rest of what you know about the story might either be true or a myth, and that's one of the things we'll talk about later. The story of this rebellion of the Maccabees is told in the books of the Maccabees. There are 5 of them, 5 books of the Maccabees. I'm not going to tell you where in the Bible those 5 books appear. That will come later. You got to watch the blessings in order to get that information, okay? We have many common customs, or what are known as minhagim. A minhag is a custom that we observe on Hanukkah. For example, we light an 8-branched, actually 9-branched candelabra known as a Chanukiah. Now, how does the Chanukiah differ from a menorah? Well, a Chanukiah is a menorah, and let me explain. The word menorah in Hebrew simply means a lamp. So if you have a lamp in your room, that's a menorah. The menorah that we think of as the menorah, the light that's in the Torah, is the 7-branched candelabra that was kept lit in the temple in Jerusalem. That had 6 individual branches and then a 7th one in the middle to represent the 6 days of Shabbat, the 6 days of the week, and the 7th day, which is Shabbat. A Chanukiah is a special kind of a menorah that has 9 branches, 8 days of the holiday, and then the shamash, the helper candle, in the middle, or depending on the Chanukiah, it might be anywhere, because not all Chanukiot are traditional looking. Some of them are very modern. And I'm looking on my shelf over here at all my Chanukiot, and I'm going to be lighting a different one every night so that you can get a sense of what they look like. I'll light an oil one. I'm going to light several modern ones. I'm going to light a very special little one that switches into something else. So you're going to get to see some different Chanukiot. So that's the difference. Um, as I mentioned, Hanukkah falls on the 25th of the month of Kislev. Erev Hanukkah is the 24th. The first day is the 25th. Now, Kislev is the 9th month of the Hebrew calendar. So think about this for a minute. You're probably asking yourselves, how can Hanukkah fall in the 9th month of the calendar? Didn't Rabbi Leah just say that Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur were 2 months ago? And isn't that the beginning of the year? So why would Hanukkah fall in the 9th month of the calendar and not in the 3rd month of the calendar? And that would be a very good question, except for the fact that Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, falling in the month of Tishrei, is actually the 7th month of the Hebrew calendar, not the 1st month of the Hebrew calendar. The 1st month of the Hebrew calendar is the month of Nisan, and that's the month in which Passover falls. So Passover is the 1st month of the Hebrew calendar, and then we go all the way from there to Kislev, which is the 9th month of the Hebrew calendar, and the month in which Hanukkah falls. I hope I don't have you thoroughly confused already. You'll have another opportunity to watch this. It's going to be showing a couple times. I think 9:30 Tuesday morning, and then again maybe 2:30 this afternoon. Make sure you check your schedule so that you can watch again, and maybe this time you'll take copious notes. All right. What are some of the other minhagim, some of the other customs? We play dreidel. Dreidel, a little spinning top. There's a history behind it. There is a reason we play it. There is significance historically, and I will discuss that on one of the nights of Hanukkah. We also eat foods fried in oil, most well known of which are potato pancakes known as latkes. Now, traditionally, latkes are made with grated potatoes, a little bit of baking powder, baking soda, excuse me, an egg, some salt, some garlic, maybe, and all beaten up and dropped in big tablespoons full into hot oil and fried up until they are golden brown. And I am making my own mouth water right now because it sounds so good. Of course, when you're making a lot of them, the oil smell stays in your hair, on your clothes, in your house. And there has been for many, many, many years a great debate about latkes and Hamantaschen, actually known as the Great Latke Hamantaschen Debate. Which is better? I'm not going to weigh in on that subject because I love both, and I don't want to give preference. But I will say that latkes are a very personal thing, just kind of like matzo balls. Some people like really dark and crispy latkes. Some people like them a little more soft and fluffy. Some people like them thick. Some people like them really thin. Some people like latkes that are not made out of regular potatoes, but maybe made out of sweet potatoes or zucchini or something else like that that lends a little bit of a different flavor. The importance is fried foods. So in addition to potato pancakes, which we fry, we also have sofganiyot, which are jelly donuts, which are fried. And if you've never had a jelly donut right out of the oil so hot that it burns your tongue. They are amazing. And the bakeries in Israel, particularly in Jerusalem, just like with Hamantashen at Purim, they have an amazing variety of sofganiyot, of donuts, these jelly donuts. So whatever your favorite filling, whatever your favorite topping, whether it is jelly, powdered sugar, Nutella, liqueur squirted inside, whatever it might be, you can find it and you can enjoy it in during Hanukkah in Israel. Okay, we also have a custom of giving gifts. Now, this is a very different custom and it comes from a different tradition than that of giving Christmas gifts. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But one of the things that is customary to give is little coins, little gold coins. The difference between the coins wrapped in gold and the coins wrapped in silver is that the gold ones are generally milk chocolate, the silver ones are generally dark chocolate. And why does that matter? Well, if you're serving a parve meal, you definitely don't want to, if you're serving a meat meal, you definitely don't want to serve the milk chocolate and vice versa. So we have different chocolate for different meals. And there is a history behind Hanukkah Geld as well. And many of you remember as kids getting coins from your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, and so on. So, although Hanukkah is not considered to be a major holiday at the same level as Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Shavuot, Pesach, and so on, it is significant in terms of what it represents. It is not a holiday that requires resting and not working like Shabbat and some of the other holidays, unless, of course, it is the Shabbat that falls during Hanukkah. And if you have an 8-day holiday, and all of you are great at math, you're going to have at least one Hanukkah, right? And some years Hanukkah starts on a Friday night. That means the last night is also going to be a Friday night. So you have two Shabbatot. And in our liturgy, in our worship liturgy, there is some special liturgy for Hanukkah, which I will include in the service that takes place on December 12th, on Saturday morning. So that's all I want to tease and tempt you with right now. Now that I got your mouth salivating and your appetites flowing for jelly donuts, Hanukkah Geld, and potato pancakes, latkes, you're going to have to wait a couple days for all of those goodies, but they will be forthcoming. Don't worry about it. You'll have your fill. And please continue to tune in. Tune in to this Hi There with Rabbi Leah again to get all this information. And then, as I mentioned, on the 8 nights, I will talk a little bit about in depth each of these subjects, so you'll learn a little bit more. We will light candles. We will sing a couple of little songs. You'll have dinner. And then on Friday of next week, Friday the 18th, yes, Friday the 18th, you will get a trivia questionnaire to fill out. You'll turn that into me by the following Monday, and we'll see who the winners are. So I'm going to say Lahitraot for now. Thank you for joining me for Hi There with Rabbi Leah. It's always wonderful to be with you. Don't forget, stay in your rooms if you're still in quarantine. wear your masks, wash your hands, even if you just wash them, and stay at least 6 feet away from anybody else. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye. Lihitraot.